It's that time. It is that time. Happy Thankful Thursday to everybody joining us live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course, if you're watching the replay on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It is a foggy day here in the Chicagoland area, and I'm loving it. Spring is in the air. There's a lot going on. We have an awesome show today, a ton of content that I'm going to be bringing you. I've been working on for weeks, and I so appreciate everybody jumping on. So let's get in. Get your notebooks ready. Let's go. Negotiating with yourself is the root of all evil. It is a cancer, says David Goggins. I don't negotiate with myself. The deal was already made, says Kobe Bryant. And on that, welcome to this episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream. It's your weekly dose of personal growth. My name is Dave. I'm your host, and thank you for joining us on episode number 96. We're live from the loft in downtown Arlington Heights. So grateful to be here. So grateful that you're all joining us. And if someone has something that they're grateful for or they're happy about, drop it in the chat. Let's hear what you got to say, because I am fired up today. I just got back from California for the Abundant Transmission immersion, and it was a town called Sebastopol, 7,500 people. Has anybody ever heard of Sebastopol, California? It's about 90 minutes north of the Bay, and what an amazing place it is. I loved it, loved chilling with my brothers, but really loved the work that we dove into. It was a lot of hard work, and that's what it's all about. And that's what today's show is going to be all about. Good news I always win. Love that. Christina says, no sounds. It's a wonderful life, or sounds wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Christina, for hopping on. Appreciate you. Okay. Well, you know that we all have a growth mindset here. We're all self-reflective. Maybe you're entrepreneur, maybe you're W-2, and most importantly, we're just here to grow the community. We're here to live beyond default, which is going towards your potential, living the best life, be who you are becoming, and just do your best. And I know we're all doing the best we can with what we have at this time. So today's topic is to stop negotiating with yourself. And this has been one that has been on my heart for a long time, and it's probably been on your heart too. So we all negotiate with ourselves at times, but I think this really hits home, especially now. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, whether it comes to the economy, whether it comes to the real estate market, whether it comes to what's going on around the world. And we're not here to get into all of that. What we're here is to get into our hearts and share our gifts with the world. So ask yourself, if you let how you felt today dictate your actions, would you be here? So think about that. If you let how you felt today dictate your actions, would you show up? Would you show up for your family? Would you show up for your friends? Would you show up for your clients? Or would you show up for yourself? I know feelings are real. It doesn't always feel good. And that's what we're going to dive into today. But remember, feelings are absolutely terrible leaders. They're terrible leaders. If we led by how we felt all the time, we never get anything done. Now, there's an argument to be who you want to become, but the feelings, they really do mess with us at times. And we're going to address that today. And I'm going to give you a very, very simple formula. So you want to take out that notebook. And I want to thank my friend Dusty Oglesby for really inspiring me to not only set my standards higher, Ben Skemper, I want to thank you also, but also just recognizing that it's really important to be self-reflective and to be honest where we are at. So remember, we don't win because we feel good. We win because we have standards. So let's start setting those standards today. Kat says, good morning. Grateful for new beginnings and opportunities to become. I love that. Christina just read a book about this. Awesome. So we are timely today. Write this one down. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. Tweet that one. Write it down. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. So today I'm going to take the word standard and I'm going to break it down into an acronym and make it easy for all of us. And of course, anytime you have a question, just drop it in the chat, whether you're live on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. All the questions come through on the chat. You can actually hop on here with me if you want and get live on screen. But more importantly, I want to bring some value to you. I want to make sure you walk away better than you showed up and make sure that you're treating yourself kindly. We always want to treat ourselves kindly in this process. Okay, so let's start with S. This is the S of standard. So the S starts with very simple. Set the standard. Leadership is influence, and you must lead yourself before you lead others. So remember, the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. If you're a leader in your business, once you're moving forward, others will follow you. If you're a leader in your family, once you start moving, others will follow you. So what's your standard for showing up? Are you showing up present? Are you showing up prepared? Did you practice for whatever you're showing up to, whether it's a client call, whether it's hanging out with your kid, whether it's date night with your significant other? Did you prepare? How about what's your standard for treating people? Are you always trying to take? Sometimes we get in that mode. I do once in a while, but I've really been watching for that. So how are you treating yourself? How are you treating other people? And that's really an interesting way to look at it, because let's think about this. The way that you treat yourself is the way that you let other people treat you. Now think about that. The way that you treat yourself is the way that you let others treat you. Some coffee this morning. And that's really important to remember, because if you're beating yourself up, if you're constantly have negative self-talk, if you're not setting a higher standard for yourself, that's how others are going to show up to you. And it's a total reflection. You can tell the type of person you are by looking at the people you surround with. So really remember that. Now, if you don't set your standard, your emotion will. Yeah, my emotions run wild sometimes. And it's not that I'm trying to control my emotions as a guy or as a man. It's not that I'm trying to push down my emotions. It's actually just the opposite. I want to feel into my emotions to meet me where I'm at, and then recognize, is it falling below the standard that I've set, or is it above the standard so I can keep growing and being better? Because remember, you don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. Okay. Ask yourself, have you clearly set your standards, or are they vague? Be clear about these. Next letter is T in standards. So write this down. T. Tell yourself the truth. The truth. That's a tough one sometimes. Hey, Charlie, thanks for joining us. that is a tough one sometimes. In fact, I think telling ourselves the truth a lot of times is tough. We don't want to face it. We like to fool ourselves at times. And that's the way our brains are wired. We want to stay safe. We want to get to the next generation. We want to procreate. That's how we were programmed. So the saber-toothed tiger or another tribe didn't kill us. And as I mentioned, we're all doing the best we can with what we have at this time. So tell yourself the truth. Take full responsibility for where you're at. That's a big part of leadership, is being honest with yourself. Because if you're not honest where you are, you don't know where you can go. So let's be honest where we are. Are we here? Are we here? Are we here? And then once we're honest of where we're at, we know the steps we need to take of where we want to go. And that could be in business, that could be in relationships, that could be with our fitness, that could be with working on our hobby. For me, it's in real estate and it's with my fitness. So being honest with myself of where I'm at in real estate and in my fitness allows me to get to that next level of where I want to be. And that's where you really want to draw a circle around yourself. Draw a circle around yourself and don't look at all these other outside influences. Just see what you have going on in your life. Block out some of the other noise and really just go in and go deep. And here we go, right? Sometimes we want to play the victim. I know it's not easy out there. I know it's not easy. It's a struggle for all of us at times. Some of us more times than others, but it's okay. So remember, playing the victim means life is happening to us, and we don't want to do that. We know that life really is happening for us, and we know that life is happening through us, not to us, but for us and through us. So stop blaming the market for where you're at. Stop blaming the economy. Don't blame your boss or your significant other or your neighbor or your colleague. None of these things have any direct response of where we are today, because we have the choice of what to focus on. We have the choice of who we want to surround ourselves with. And we all get in victim mode. You know, I'm not pointing a finger to you or anybody else. We're all self-reflecting here. We're all growing on Live Beyond Default, and we're actually being honest with ourselves instead of sugarcoating things. So let's not blame outside sources. People told me in 2024, oh, it's the market, and it's going to be a tough market in 2024. And I did wonderful. And then last year, somebody said, oh, the market was tough again. And I hear that. And it's always these excuses. And I say, you know what? If I fell short of my goals last year, it's not because of the market. It's because of my standards. And I set my standards too low. Taking self-responsibility. And I know you want to do so too. So if you have something you want to throw in the chat about your standards, about telling yourself the truth, feel free. This is a completely open call, and we want to bring you value. Heather, good morning. Thanks for joining us today. Love you, Heather. Can't wait to see you again soon. So let's think about this. Growth begins when excuses end. And if your standards have slipped, it's because of what you did or didn't do. Let's take self-responsibility for that. All right. The next letter in standards is A. Act regardless of emotion. Tony Robbins always says motion creates emotion. And it's so true. So think about it. Like if you don't want to get out of bed, the best thing to do is count down from 3 or count down from 5 and just start moving. If you want to go talk to somebody, whether it's a guy or a girl, or introduce yourself to somewhere at a networking event, or maybe it's a prospect. If you don't want to talk to somebody, I like to say that my feet are moving faster than my brain. So if you just start moving, you'll take care of the task. It's getting going. It's taking that initial first step. Don't ask how you feel. Ask yourself, what are your standards? How are you going to show up today? How are you going to show up for your kids today? How are you going to show up for your significant other today, even if they're annoying at times? How are you going to show up for that client that's been asking for so much and asked you to lower your commission? How are you going to show up for them? Discipline equals choosing standards over comfort. We are in such a comfort culture, and I say we, I mean all of us. We are in such a comfort culture right now that I find myself falling in that trap. I want it to be a certain temperature in my place. I want it to be, I want to be in a certain, I don't want to make that extra call. I mean, we could just think about the list of things and how we are always going towards comfort. And that's really how society is built. That's really the default, is to get to comfort. And I believe we've all fallen into that. And it's not our fault. It's not anybody's fault. But we could take responsibility for being a part of that comfort culture and flipping it to a performance culture, or even at a higher level of consciousness, flipping it to a being cultural. How are you going to show up? How are you going to be today? And that's a big part of what I think this cultural shift that is happening. Awesome. We got a couple people on here. Kat says, if you don't set your standards, your emotion will. Yep, so true. You set the energy level where focus goes, energy flows. Lead yourself. Thank you, Jim. Love that. Good morning, Alicia. Alicia, happy birthday to you. I know it was yesterday. It was so wonderful to see you and your smile, and you're just such a ray of sunshine, how you light up the room. Ron, thank you. Good stuff as always. Love you too, brother. So this past weekend, the planets aligned, 7 or 8 of them, and then we had a blood moon and an eclipse. So we're on this pretty interesting path this week of what's going on in the universe. Just really think about that. What is the likelihood that that all happens in the matter of a couple days? So let's use what's going on in the universe. Let's use that energy as a catalyst. Let's surf on it. Let's ride that wave. You could tell I just came back from California, right? Let's ride that wave in what's happening in the universe. It is also the year of the horse. Let's ride out. Let's ride free. Let's break through what's been holding us back. And I think part of what's been holding us back is this comfort culture. And the other thing with comfort culture is it really distracts us from what's important in life. It distracts us from what's going on in the heart. It distracts us from having that tough conversation with our significant other or our client or our kids. Think about it. And it distracts us from having that tough conversation with ourselves. Yeah, so thinking about acting without emotion. I don't know if anybody watched the Olympics. If you did, tell me what your favorite part was. But Lindsey Vonn was a skier. And talk about discipline. Didn't she have like a torn ACL or it was healing or something? And she went out there anyway. Now, I'm not suggesting to go skiing if you have a torn ACL. You get the point, though. The point is she had discipline. She went out there. She was focused and she had high standards. Okay, next letter is N. The N of standards stands for no negotiation. No negotiation. That's the title of this. Take a look below. Stop negotiating with yourself. We sell ourselves out of it all the time. And I know because I do the same thing. Oh, those brains of ours, right? Yeah. No negotiation. Negotiation looks like, oh, just this once. Or I'm tired today. Or, yeah, those grapes were probably sour anyway. Remember the fox and the grapes in the tree, and she couldn't, or he couldn't reach them. And after trying and trying, walks away and says, they were probably sour anyway. No, they weren't sour anyway. We got to go for it. The moment you negotiate your standard, you no longer have one. Remember what Kobe Bryant said earlier today. I don't negotiate with myself. The deal was already made. And I'm challenging all of us, make that deal with yourself, or else you're not going to have any standards. Set that standard at a higher level. Who are you going to surround yourself with? How are you going to wake up in the morning? Are you going to read books, or are you going to endlessly scroll on YouTube and derp the rest of the day for 2 or 3 hours? Or are you going to read something? You're going to go out and take a walk in nature like Carolyn Litton says? Are you going to speak at another event like Alan Stern or Scott Tillema? Think about it. Talk to yourself. And remember, the minute you negotiate your standard, you have no standards. The cool thing about standards is we think it's like caging us and we think it's holding us back, but really the non-negotiables create the freedom. I like to say that the boundaries or the standards is what fosters the creativity. Because when you set your standards, I've learned this in my life, especially in real estate, when you set your standards at a higher level, it actually becomes easier. Because now all this other noise that's out there, you just don't focus on it. You just don't become about it. When people start talking about other things going on in the world and pointing fingers at people like, you know what? I don't want to be a part of that. That's part of victim. I am blaming. I'm going to start reading and I'm going to go hang out with my kids. Like you just start doing things differently. And I promise you, give it a try and you'll see that this week. Hey, if you're just joining us, it is Live Beyond Default LiveStream episode number 96, live from the loft in downtown Arlington Heights. We are fired up. We're talking about standards. We appreciate you watching us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, or if you're watching the replay on any of those and Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Okay, so non-negotiables create the freedom. Let's get to this next one. And I absolutely love this one. This is the D in standards. Remember, we're breaking down standards into an acronym. D is do the boring work. Ooh, yeah. Are we doing the boring work? And people ask me a lot what that means. What that means is, are you doing the work that you know needs to be done to get you to where you want to go? So you could be the person who you want to become. Are you doing that boring work? Especially when nobody's watching. Are you making those calls? Are you sending out those emails? Are you having those tough conversations? Are you preparing those quotes? Are you preparing for your meetings or for your speaking event? Or maybe you're taking care of the house and you're a stay-at-home dad and you want the house to be set for when your wife comes home or your kids come home. Or are you taking care of maybe a loved one that needs you to be there for them? That could be the boring work. So let's think about this. It could be calls, it could be follow-ups, it could be texts, it could be your finances. I like to say Finance Friday and work on my finances for an hour every Friday. Oh, how about this one that nobody wants to hear about? Taxes. Tell me about your taxes. Are you working on them? Are they almost done? That's the boring work, but we know that boring work is going to move us forward. Remember Jersey Shore? If you don't, Google it. How about GTL? Huh? Gym, tan, and laundry. That's the boring work. Are you doing it? I love that reference. Remember this, that time on task done consistently is what creates results. And my friend Dustin says this all the time. Write this one down. This is a big one. Time on task done consistently is what creates the growth. So important. For me, I look at it as listings will come 3 to 6 months after consistent effort and who or what market I'm working on to list their home. I don't get a listing instantly that day. It's because of what I've been doing for the last 3 to 6 months. That's when I'm getting my listings. Results lag, but effort compounds. And in this instant gratification society where we can order food and have it here in 15 minutes, where we can order something online and have it at our door that same day, we're so used to instant results and instant gratification. And that's not how it works. When it comes to personal growth, when it comes to becoming the person you want to be, the results lag. And it sucks. I know it does. You just have to have faith. Have faith in yourself. Have faith with your higher power. Have faith with God. Whomever it is, just have faith in yourself, because I promise you, it'll happen. The results lag, but the effort compounds. And having that compounding effort is really what's going to move the needle. Good morning, Dan. Daniel Rieger, love you. Thank you for taking care of my car. And Daniela, good morning to you. I am so excited about your 10-year anniversary coming up later this month. Think about that. To be in business for 10 years, that is something to celebrate. Assisting Hands in Schaumburg. Daniela, love you. So excited to see you in another week or two. Okay, now let's get to the next letter in standards here. Yes, I do have notes that I am looking at because I don't remember everything and I want to keep it consistent and a little bit of structure so we get the most out of this. Okay, so the A in standards. The second A is anchor to identity. You want to set your standards and anchor them into who you are. This is where the being comes in. We want to do from being. Does that make sense? We want to do from being. If it doesn't, that could be a whole nother topic. We can talk about that a little more, or you can ask me about it, DM me, text me. I love jamming on this stuff. So we want to anchor to identity. And really, let's take this slow. Say to yourself, I am a person who finishes. I am a person who prepares. I am a person who does the hard stuff. What we tell ourselves is what we become. What we tell ourselves is what we become. So tell yourself something good. Remember when you had a win. Remember when you let somebody better than you found them. Remember when your kid smiled or your significant other came and gave you a kiss for no reason. Those are magical moments. So write down a few affirmations. You're welcome to share them in the chat too. I love when people share in the chat. You're welcome to share, but really this is about you. So write these things down. I am a person who finishes. I am a person who prepares. I am a person who does the hard stuff. I am a person who shows up every day, even if I don't feel like it. I am a person who will listen to others before I respond. I am a person who will listen to others so I can understand them better. I am a person who will be patient while waiting in line, understanding that everybody's doing the best they can. You could come up with some of your own. I could keep going on, and I don't want to at this point, but you get what's going on. So you don't keep the standards because of motivation. Motivation just doesn't work. It wanes. It wanes by what's going on around us. So we keep our standards because of identity. Not because of motivation, but because of identity. B who you want to become. So ask yourself, who are you? Ask yourself that question. Who are you? Okay, now let's get on to the R of standards. The R stands for raise the bar. Yes, let's raise the bar on our standards. This is not emotional hype. It's about raising preparation. It's about raising your mindset. It's about raising execution. It's about raising what you tolerate and who you tolerate. Let's really take a look. Now that we're in the spring, we're already in March. Let's really take a look at the people that we're surrounding ourselves in our lives. Who is the cast of characters in your life? I like to refer back to The Lord of the Rings. Who were the cast of characters? And how did they all show up? And who were they surrounded with? Because it really does make a difference in your life of who you surround yourself with and what you tolerate from others. And that's a reflection of what you tolerate from yourself. That's the funny part again, is what you tolerate from yourself is what you tolerate from others. And I don't know why it works that way. Maybe because the way you treat yourself, it goes out into the universe, into the ether, and that's the signal you're transmitting. So it brings that into you with other people. Yeah, it's time to raise the bar. It's time to raise the bar for all of us. And remember, the game is won on the practice field. You practice like you play, and you play like you practice. Practice, practice, practice every day. Practice in the mirror. Practice by putting in the reps. Practice in front of people. Practice by yourself. Whatever it is that you want to get better at, just practice. Maybe it's in a relationship with a family member. You know how you practice? Call them, her, FaceTime them, talk to them more. Don't just send them random texts. Like, talk to them, sit in front of them, hold their hand, share with them what your thoughts are. Try to get closer to them. Do your best. All right. Next is D, decide daily. Deciding daily really is what plays the long game on setting your standards. And they're not just set once. They're chosen every single morning. In fact, I'll say that they're even chosen the night before. A practice that I like to do before I go to bed is to self-reflect. What moved the needle forward for me? What am I proud of that I did? And where could I have done better? I love asking myself those questions the night before and then listing 3 to 5 items that are my non-negotiables for the next day. So what that does is it clears out all the noise. And when you go to bed, you already know, like, that's what I have to do tomorrow. I don't have to think about these things. I already wrote them down. And then when you wake up, the best part is you already know what you got to do. You don't have to think about it. You could wake up clear-headed. You can wake up and ask yourself, what do I get to do today? So remember, standards aren't set once. They're chosen every morning. And every single day, you either reinforce them or you erode them. Which is it that you're doing? What does it look like for you to be faithful today? I ask myself that question. What does it look like for me to show up today? It's not easy. It sure is fulfilling at the end of the day, though. It's all worth it. Okay. Our last S here of standards is stay the course. As I mentioned before, results lag. What you do today, you're not going to see the instant result later today or tomorrow. Usually takes a while. Now, there's some things that are instant gratification, washing dishes or vacuuming or cleaning. Like those are some instant gratification. And you could do some little things throughout the day that give you that instant gratification, that move the needle forward in a positive way. But just remember though, for the bigger picture and who you're becoming, the results are going to lag. Your feelings, they're going to fluctuate. Motivation, we know that. It's like, there's no motivation sometimes. So remember, the seeds that you plant today are going to shade those you love. Ask yourself, who are you planting your seeds for? Is it a family member? Is it a friend? Maybe it's your niece and nephew, like for me. Maybe it's your significant other. Maybe it's a colleague that needs your help or a client that's really struggling. The seeds that you're planting today are going to shade those who you love. Think about that. You're not just doing this for yourself. We're doing it to overflow and leave the world a better place. I so appreciate you jamming on this episode with me. We're coming to the close here. We gave you the acronym of standards and broke it down, each single letter. We're asking each other to stop negotiating with ourselves. And I'm reminding myself just by seeing it on the screen and repeating it like, Dave, stop negotiating with yourself. So remember, the standards you hold today may bless someone you haven't even met yet. And if that's not a reason to set your standards high, I don't know what it is. Because isn't it great to meet someone a few days from now? Just imagine that. And the standards you're setting now are going to do something kind for them. And we know the world can use a little more kindness today. When motivation fades and confidence wanes, standards carry you. Not once, not occasionally, but every single day. And I challenge you, set those standards, raise the bar, and stop negotiating with yourself. So thank you again for watching and being a part of Live Beyond Default Livestream, episode number 96. I love you all. I so appreciate you taking the time to watch or listen on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We're coming up to episode 100. It's only 3 more episodes. I'm super excited about that. My birthday is later on this month. We changed the clocks this weekend. The planets aligned this past weekend. We had an eclipse and a blood red moon. All this stuff is going on, and it's time for us to raise our standards. So thank you again. I so appreciate it. I'm going to make it a great day. I know you are too, and we'll see you next time.